All right, y'all, let's kick this off. Okay, this is our September 14th call. Thanks for being here. I know times are crazy right now. Just a couple of things. If you didn't get to try it yet, today was 30-day breakaway sample workout, and I think it should stay up. I tried it. It was good. I thought it was kind of cool, like different variety of movements. Of course, I didn't do the running piece, so I don't know if anybody tried that part out and wants to talk about like if it was a smooth transition to the run. It definitely seems to me like they're trying to make it like Peloton, though, if you've ever seen the Peloton app, with some of their running. But I thought that it was kind of cool, like, the moves she had embedded in her workout for preparing for running. And then the actual running piece I watched for a little bit. There's more of like the interval type training built into the run. So it's a little bit of walk, a little bit of run. You change your pace up a little bit. So I think it's the best way I could describe my thought about it is like our typical like 20-minute weighted workout with like the couch to 5K piece built into the end, but it's guided like Peloton. So like it kind of combines a bunch of different things together, but it should be really cool. It comes out October 5th, I want to say, for the coach window. So what we'll do is I kind of paid into a coach's pot for like all the launch materials for it, like I did with Muscle Burns Fat. And we can take our Muscle Burns Fat group and turn it into a 30-day breakaway launch group. So this month, as you're talking to people, of course, like Muscle Burns Fat is all on sale. The 10 rounds challenge packs all have the nutrition built in now with Ultimate Portion Fix and 2B Mindset, and then the like on-demand packs all have that as well. So all those are like $160, I believe. I don't know if the 10 rounds is a little bit more or not, but that's kind of like what is still on special. I just want to tell everybody September is like a slow month. So I think people get really discouraged during these months. If you're a newer coach, it can feel really like you're like trying to like pull stuff out of people. Conversations are slower. People are in like an overwhelmed stage of life. So try not to get too discouraged. One thing I think that always helps me is like, we don't have the like ring the bell thread going in our page right now, but it's going in the Fit and Fierce page. And if ever I'm feeling like down because things aren't happening, I can go look at that thread. I can see like, okay, a lot of people are like celebrating a BOD membership or Success Club 2, or, like something that maybe normally at this point in the month we might be further along. So I just want to say, like, give yourself grace. This is a month of like planting seeds more than any other. People have a lot more to work through in their lives right now with scheduling and with just feeling like overwhelmed. So the best thing you can do is meet them where they are, support them where they are. If it's sending free workouts, do that. If it's, participating, I didn't sign up to host the Fit and Fierce Pumpkin Spice Shakeology Challenge because truthfully, I haven't even purchased any Pumpkin Spice Shakeology. I like it. It's just not my favorite. I bought like every box of salted caramel I could. I'll do the same thing for the peppermint mocha. You just figure out what works for you, right? So pumpkin spice isn't really my jam. I'm not like dying to add in one extra thing this month with, being so close to baby coming. But if you want to participate in that, like still, I will say people are obsessed. And if you see people posting about their PSLs from Starbucks, you may consider buying like a box or two, hosting a challenge with it. I'm sure there's other ladies in our group that would love to join up and do it. And a 5-day Shakeology challenge is a really simple thing to do. Also in months like this that are super slow, like finding something that you think is kind of fun to host a free group around goes over really well. Like just figuring out what makes you excited and running a group around that, I think is really good. So like if, like I just saw Jessica Turner, a coaching friend of mine, posted about a devotional book she wants to do. I've seen Stacy post about that 100 Days of Joy and Strength that I have and that she has and that Christina has. And I think we're almost to that point of like 100 days left in the year. So if you want to do something around that, you can.
I think some coaches too are like focusing on like a water one too. Lately, I've seen like a water focused kind of free group where they're putting in like tips on how to get your water in and ways to flavor it healthy and the benefits of it, and then like dropping in some like little recipes too in there.
Yeah, and I guess now that we have like Bevy, you could always even use that for like giveaways or things to make it more exciting. Like maybe for participation, you could give away some packets of Energize or Bevy or something like that. I'm going to say in advance, like I normally would take on planning stuff, but I just know right now I'm at my, my like peak of planning things. So if anybody's interested in running a free group and you kind of want to get other people involved, like don't be afraid to post in the team page about it. We have scripts for, I don't think I have a water script, but I definitely have like a sugar, like detox script. I have clean eating scripts, and I'm sure we could get a water script from somebody because I know that like my old Success partner used to do them all the time. So if you want to do free groups, that's a great way to like segue. You can add a lot of value into them and then invite to your longer groups too. So don't be afraid to do that. You can give away free workouts in them. You can have them sample like 30-day breakaway and MBF and some other fun stuff and make it really cool. And I mean, other coaches just run ongoing free communities too. So it'll kind of segue a little bit into what I talk about now. I think that's really it. I mean, this month there's also like the meditations have come out on demand. I haven't tried those yet, but I've seen other people trying them and saying really great things. There is, what else am I forgetting, Stacy? Oh, Autumn's book is available now. And I think you get a digital copy for free if you do like a UPF pack or something that has UPF like as part of the challenge pack. And I haven't dug into her book yet, but I have it. And I think it's going to be a lot like the To Be Mindset book, where like it really talks up the UPF program, so people will feel compelled to like have the full program if they start with the book too. So the To Be Mindset book was really great for that. And I had a lot of people just buy that after we talked about it, and then they were ready to sign up for the program after they read it. I think you could do the same thing with the with Autumn's book. I also just started reading Darren Olean's book called Super Life this weekend, and I find it's really interesting so far too. It's not like Beachbody endorsed it and like it's there to sell Shakeology, but he talks about hydration, he talks about workouts, he talks about eating plant-based and stuff like that. So if you're interested in learning more about nutrition and want to learn more about him, it's been pretty good so far. I find it's an interesting read. He's kind of like a very granola guy, but he gets really scientific in the book too, which helps. So I just wanted to talk tonight like quickly about 6 small things that you can do to spark growth in your business. And I think these are going to be really basic things, but I feel like this time of year is really good for getting back to the basics. Like if you kind of are just like I posted last week, like your brain is on overdrive, too much is going on. You don't know where to start because you feel so overwhelmed. Like what are some things you can do to really just get back to basics and move your business forward, even if it's not like you can take massive action on a daily basis? And I always kind of get inspiration from other calls or podcasts that I listen to. So I listened to another coach give a similar talk, and I took away what my things are, but I also will share with you some of the things she suggested too, because I do think it's helpful to hear multiple perspectives. I didn't get to listen to the National Wake Up Call today, but I can just say, like, if you have time for that, it's always a great place to get inspired. Beachbody Champions page is always a great place to get inspired, but a lot of times I just go on YouTube, and if I'm struggling with something specific, I will kind of look up calls around it and try to plan stuff for us too, because I feel like a lot of us get in the same grooves or ruts at the same time. So the number one thing is like, I feel like this step often gets overlooked, but is to declare what your vision is here. I think that this is like one of these like really big topics that people start this because they think it'll be fun. And so they don't necessarily always come up with their vision for it because they don't really know what it can turn into for themselves. And maybe they don't take it as seriously. And I feel like that's why people quit so quickly. And that's why they give up so quickly, because they don't really see what like the long term for this can be. And a vision, just to like kind of break it down for you, is separate from goals, in that your vision is kind of like your long term. Like, when somebody asks you where you want to be in 5 years, when somebody asks you what your perfect day looks like, when somebody asks you, maybe what your why is for this business, that's really what ties back to your vision. So like when I first started this, I thought my vision for this was I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Well, I was a stay-at-home mom for like 2 months of maternity leave, and I quickly realized like, I don't want to do that. So like it might change, like I realized like I think I need, like separation, I need my job to be separate from my home life. And so over time it's become like my vision for this is more for the freedom that it can provide. like knowing my husband's in the Army is there to give us the ability for him not to re-sign that contract if it doesn't fit our life at that time. It's like now these days for my full-time job, it's like maybe the next step for me is income replacement, so I can choose to walk away from this if I want to, because it's been overly stressful and I find it unnecessary, at this stage of life to have that sort of cloud hanging over my head. And you see this a lot. Like, we come into this a lot of times because it's fun and we want a discount. But once we see that first paycheck or the second paycheck coming in, it's like, okay, your mind starts to think like, there's more to this. Now, what can I do with it? And so for me, it's become more of student loan debt payoff, life freedom, travel freedom, things like that. So I just want to kind of ask you guys if you've come up with something like this for yourself. I know we've done calls like this in the past, but if you want to type something in the chat box of like what your long-term vision, like your big thing that you're after is for this, type it out, share it with us, and put it out there for yourself too. Like write it down on a daily basis, say it or visualize it. Like if you do a miracle morning, say it to yourself on a daily basis, because I think on the days where it feels tough, like lately life feels tough, right? And it's easier to put this off because it's not like something that you're taking as seriously. Kind of coming back to why you started in the first place is going to be the one thing that anchors you back. When hubby is up to retire, full-time income, retire husband. And I have struggled with this part.
Hit my hand.
What's that?
Ignore that. I said, ignore that. I'm not done. The dog hit my hand and it wasn't supposed to send. I was like, crap, Sarah reads it right away.
Well, no, I like these things because I feel like also when you share it out loud, it makes it like you're breathing life into it,
I mean, I will. I mean, what mine is, I mean, one thing, and he keeps telling me, don't worry about it, but is that I would love to have enough of an income to where when he can retire here in 6 years, he can choose to continue, like stay retired. Like he doesn't have to have a second. I would like because he's made comments since he's been teleworking. He was like, working from home would actually not be too bad of a thing. And, it'd be cool to give that option. So that's like my big thing. And my small thing that I've always had is being able to pay for like Father's Day, his birthday present, his Christmas present, like pay for those things myself. Like, even though it's our money, it's always really his money that he makes, even though I know it's our money, but just to be able to like pull out of, my account of Beachbody making money and pay for, a present for him or whatever is something that just always makes me feel good. So there's have been like financial like whys of this.
Yeah. And Jen says she truly loves teaching, but she doesn't want to have to live paycheck to paycheck. She wants to be able to travel and not always stress about money. I think that's the thing. I hear a lot of teachers that actually retire to do this. They say they feel like the great thing for them is they can still teach through it, like because they become leaders and they can use it as an outlet for that. But the stress factor doesn't seem to be as high. And I know right now it's probably higher than ever. So Kendall said full-time income, pay off student loans. Yes. Feel like I can inspire others every day and that I'm helping someone. And then Molly, financial freedom to walk away from my full-time job if I want to. That's me too. And travel. Yeah. I think honestly, the first few paychecks for this never really like struck me what it could potentially be. But then after I set the goal, like I knew my big vision at that point was like financial freedom, and it was flexibility and not feeling like I had to do something. But then from there, which is number 2, is setting goals with it. So like the next goals were, I want to be able to pay for groceries this week with that. And then maybe the next month after I was covering groceries every week, it was, okay, like what's the next thing? Like, how about the car payment? How about I can make an extra car payment for us to pay off the car early? And then after that, it was like, okay, well, I did that. Like we paid off our car early. What's the next thing? And from there, it was like, oh, a mortgage. Like, I can't believe I'm paying a mortgage with this side income. And stuff like that is where your life truly starts to like transform, but you also get more excited about it because you're like, wow, like I'm growing this and it's turning into this next thing and this next thing and this next thing. So setting goals is number 2 after you create that vision for yourself. And the one thing I wanted to say about vision is like, if you're going to read it, or write it down every day, which I would totally suggest, or like maybe you have it like on a sticky note on your laptop, or maybe it's the backdrop on your phone. Don't say like, I want to be financially free. Like, I am financially free. And I think if you have like the Rachel Hollis Start Today, the way she has you write out your long-term, like 10-year goals or whatever 10-year dreams is, I am, like, you act as if, right? Like, I am financially free. I am in total control of my time. I am like a, whatever level of coach you want to be or whatnot. So you write out the statements as if they're already happening, because it's more empowering. And I want to let that little bit of like self-doubt come into play. And then when you set goals, I think this is one thing to keep in mind. Like, you have such a low threshold to start this business. Like, you probably got a free coach sign up. That $40 was waived. Then it's $15.95 a month to have a business. And you could look at that in one of two ways, right? Like, that's the best deal ever to create the biggest business ever, or you don't take it that seriously because it doesn't feel that serious, but you are like the CEO of your business. So the one thing that I hear constantly from the coaches that really succeed and do well is, I wanted a 6-figure business, so I acted like I was a 6-figure business owner. I didn't act like I was a $15.95 a month business owner, right? So I think it's hard in the beginning to want to put forth that much effort, but when you don't feel like you're seeing the payoff. But if you treat it as if, this is the 6-figure business that I want to have, therefore I'm going to show up like it's that, then I think it actually produces more for you, and it gets you closer to that on a faster pace. So, I feel like this is the one thing I heard on the call I listened to, and it's probably not something any of us can think about, but like, this is a job, right? It's a job that you've decided to have. It's voluntary. You don't have to be here. But the one thing you could think of each day, like if you kind of like lay your head on the pillow at night, did I do a good job with this kind of thing, is like, if I were my boss, would I like be happy with the performance that I put out today? Or like, if I were my boss, would I fire me today? Like, did you show up for it? Like, did you work it? And the girl who spoke on the call, Jen, I liked like hearing her perspective. She was a teacher. She's like if I were just like, no, I'm not going to invite today, I'm going to do like double tomorrow. Like, what if I talked to the principal at my school and was like, I'm not going to work today, but I'll work double hard tomorrow, like teaching my class. So I'm just going to give myself the day off. And I do think it's true. Like, we don't look at this the same because it doesn't necessarily produce the same fruit right away. But if we treated it like it did, it certainly could, if not like provide more. So I feel like sometimes, lately, especially, like, I kind of admitted I hadn't done a power hour in a week. And so when I listened to that call today and she said that, I'm like, there's my gut check. I did mine last night, but like, you can't not show up for a week for your business and expect it to produce for you, So treating it like the business that you want to have is really key. Number 3 is wake up early. So I feel like this is a really good tip, because like, we have our power hour, and I think it's something that can easily be left to the end of the day. But like, ultimately, it's just like a workout, right? Like, if you decide not to do your workout in the morning and you wait till the end of the day to see how you feel, like, what's your actual chance of getting it done? Like, same thing with your business. I think if you leave all that stuff for the end of the day, unless you're a very disciplined person, the chances of you skipping out, if you're not feeling it, if you're tired, if like your kids have a rough night, it gets a lot higher. So if you can wake up a little bit earlier and knock out some non-negotiables, it really helps with setting your tone for the rest of the day. So like, what she suggested on the call, and I really like this, was like, pick 5 things, like maybe you write down the night before, that you're going to do to start your day the next day. And they have to be like your non-negotiables. Like, I kind of think of them as like the income producing activities for our business in a way. But part of that, like, number 1 for me would be personal development, because I know if I don't do that, or write my affirmations or vision or look at that, like, my mindset is not where it needs to be to do the rest of it. So that would be like my number 1, like, make my energize, read my devotionals, write my affirmations while I'm waiting on that to kick in. Number 2 for me would be my workout, because I would love to say I'm just like a naturally fit person, with like a banging body, but I'm not. So my business really like needs me to show up and do my workout. So that for me would be number 2. Number 3, like, non-negotiable is inviting. Like, to me, that's like the number 1 income producing activity we have in our business. Number 4 is get a couple posts out there. Like, if I can do it in the beginning of the day, like a couple stories, it really makes me feel more motivated to keep going. Like if I wait until 2 p.m. to post my first story, then I'm like, what am I going to post about? Whatever. And you don't have to post on your feed every day, but I think you have to post in your stories pretty much on a regular basis. So maybe you make that one of your morning non-negotiables. And then if you have a full-time job and you have to check out for 8 hours, you've at least like checked off so many of your boxes already of the things that you needed to be your best, in operation for yourself, but also that you needed for your business to move forward. What a non-negotiable invite. So like my inviting style is very much like I made a post on my page yesterday. Today, my job would be to go to all the people who liked that post or who looked at my stories, like I put a poll in my stories also, and invite those people. And if I can only do like 5 to 10 because it's first thing in the morning, great. But like I'll do that. So I have like an invite I can share with you guys. Jen was on the Power Hour with me last night, and I took what she shared and made it my own, if you will. Let me see if I can get it on here. But if you post regularly on your social media, I think it really gives you like your to-do list for the next day. Like if you posted yesterday and it was something that was semi-related to, a challenge group or coaching, then today you have all these people you can invite. And maybe you don't do it every day, like I don't invite necessarily every day. Some days are just like follow-ups with a ton of people because I know that, like Fridays are great follow-up days because it's usually payday for people. Or Sundays are great follow-up days if a new challenge is starting on Monday. So I might not do a bunch of new stuff on those days, but the other days of the week, I go in and I look at who was liking the post, watching the stories, and I invite from there. And so that is kind of where I would choose my non-negotiable invites from. This kind of gets into like the next point, number 4, is completing the business activity tracker every day. Or every day you schedule yourself to work your business, I should say. Like, I, for a long, long time, did not do any Saturday work. These days I do more of it because it's like a catch-up day for me. The week was kind of crazy with work. But my goal would be typically to complete my business activity tracker 6 days a week. So number 4 non-negotiable is that business activity tracker. And I think it says on there number of invites like 3 to 5 a day. Is that right? Can somebody tell me? This is just a sample invite from last night.
Repeat that question.
The business activity tracker that Beachbody has right now, the Success Club tracker, does it recommend 3 to 5 invites a day?
I think so, but hold on one second. I can pull it up right here in my photos that I have with this stuff, and I can tell you in a second.
So what I would do, like if I was going to make this my morning activity, is send out at least 5. And then if I have time later in the day, I would definitely do more. I feel like 5 invites is a great like minimum goal to set for yourself. And if I posted, like last night I posted about coaching in my stories. So today I'll send coaching invites. If I post about a challenge group or like Transformation Tuesday, the following day I'll invite all those people to my next challenge group. So I kind of just do it based on what the content is. And like this one I sent last night to a bunch of people who liked my workout video I posted last week, because I try to tie it back into like, thanks for liking that post. Not sure if you're interested, but if you are, this is what I have coming up and I'd love to have you, kind of thing.
I think says send blank new CG invite, so challenge group, and it says aim for at least 5, and then it says send blank where you can fill in like your own personal new coach invites, and then parentheses aim for at least 3.
Yeah. And you might not do that. Like for me, I'm kind of more like, I'm going to go to that post. I'll probably invite 30 people off that post. So it might not be all like, I might not check both boxes that day, but then the next day it might be all coaching. I don't know. I think the method to my madness is more just like picking a post and saying, I'm going to get through all those people, just because for me that makes sense and I don't have to like track as much. So I think for you, like most of your stuff so far, Kendall, has been like a transformation post here or there. Like if you haven't invited from those, I would go back and start building relationships and inviting from those. And then I'm sure you probably really haven't posted much about coaching yet, but as you start to work those posts in, it becomes a really easy invite to talk about. Like tonight, I would take a picture of our team call. I put it in my stories and be like, I really am like so excited about this coaching journey I just started. Like, it gives you a perfect like way to talk about it, and then you can invite tomorrow, if people are watching. And then the business activity tracker, or the Success Club tracker, if you don't know where that is, we have the Beachbody Champions page, and it's in the units there for new coaches. I went through it in the Get Started Right call, but also like that post I made last week where I just screenshotted like several quick checklists. Those are essentially like a business activity tracker. It's basically a power hour checklist, and they're just the basics, like you doing your workout, you doing your personal development, you getting Shakeology in or pre and post workout, posting some stories, posting on your feed, adding a couple new friends, and inviting some people. Like, it really is just the same thing on a daily basis. This business is really not hard. It's just a matter of being disciplined enough to keep doing it, and keep doing it long enough to see the benefits. Number 5, I put schedule in your unplugged time. I think it goes both ways. Schedule in your business time and schedule in your unplugged time. Like, the number one thing I see new coaches do is they get really excited about this. They won't get off their phones for like a month. Their family gets pissed at them. Then they get overwhelmed, and then they shut down completely. And then they're like, oh my God, it feels so nice to take a break from social media. Like, why did you do that to yourself? Like, nobody needs to be on Facebook 24/7. Nobody needs to be on Instagram 24/7. Like, schedule your business hours. Be a CEO. Don't be a slave to your Facebook page, right? Like, if you don't answer somebody's message right away, they're not going to be like, not worth it, going somewhere else. They're going to just wait on you, right? Like, and you're also showing them too, like, how they could do this in their time and what makes, sense for them. I think if you are one of those people that feel like you have to answer every message immediately, they're going to think they have to do that. And they're like, coaching's not for me. I'm not going to be like, answering my Facebook Messenger like it's a pager, and I'm, I got to answer right away. So keep that in mind, because I just feel like sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves, and it's like, you don't have to be that person. Nobody expects you to be that person. Of course, as a coach, like the last 2 weeks, I've been so out of touch with my challengers, and I'm apologizing to them for not checking in as much as I normally would. And they're all very understanding. But, like, this is years of doing this, to where I kind of set like one day a week, I want to check in on my people. One day a week, I want to do this, you are not required to be plugged into this 24/7. So if you need to turn off your notifications on your phone for specific hours, you do it. If you need to take Saturdays off, you do it. That's what I would do. Like, Saturdays for me used to be like, nope, unplugged. And if somebody would be like, I tried to message you yesterday, I'd be like, yeah, Saturday's my unplugged day. I even talk about it in stories, or like on my feed. And people are like, oh, that's nice. Like, I don't have to be that person. So keep it in mind, and like, just say, like, if I'm going to work, 6 to 7 p.m. at night, and that's my business time, and then I want to go watch Netflix, say it. Like, then you're going to attract a bunch of people who are like, okay, cool, I can do this for an hour, and then I'm done. Like, will you grow as fast as somebody who's plugged in for 8 hours a day? No. But do you want to be plugged in for 8 hours a day? Probably not. Like, figure out what works for you in your life, and then I promise you'll start to attract those people that are kind of similarly situated, and it makes it more fun to do it together, because, it's like, this is a long-term thing. It's going to provide for you for years down the road. It doesn't have to be, make it every goal happen in the first month. So that is number 5. And I think sharing when you unplug is really big. I used to be so much better about it, and I would get messages like, I know you're unplugged right now, but when you get the chance, like tomorrow, maybe can we chat about this, or can you answer this for me? And I felt so much better about it. And I felt like people kind of, like, coaches and even challengers respect that of you, like, you're not expected to answer all their questions right away. And you'll get some really needy people in this who need to know, like, nope, those are not my working hours. I'm not doing it, And then number 6, I just have fun. And I feel like this is really key right now, this time of year, because I was thinking about it today, like, it's a lot. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. And I think you can get to the point where you kind of dread doing this, because it feels like another item on your checklist, another responsibility, like something else that's sucking the life out of you right now. And if you're not having fun with it, then it's going to become something that, you decide not to do. And that would be a shame, because obviously it can help fuel those visions that you talked about in the beginning. So I think figuring out a way to keep it fun, like number one for me is if I'm doing a program that I just dread every single day, I know it's time for me to switch. Like I got to do something else because I'm not having fun with the workouts. If I'm not having fun with the workouts, I'm probably not showing up in the groups. If I'm not showing up in the groups, I'm not really digging into the community. And those are the things that got me started. So I always know, like, if that piece is off, it's kind of like the domino effect. Like find something different, and maybe it's going back to the very first program you started with. That's what you fell in love with, 21 Day Fix Extreme. The original was like my jam. When I feel stuck, I just go back to it. I'm like, quick results, works really well. I know it works for me, and I can have fun with it. If it's for you, like, the fun of this is the community, figure out a way to create more community around it. Like I know we have our live workout thread in the morning, but that time doesn't work for everybody. So maybe suggest like, a challenge group happy hour, and we can ask questions and just relax, like I feel like when we do that for team stuff, it always makes us feel better. Like when it's not just a, team call with a topic. So I feel like doing something that makes this fun for you is really key. If your strength is like meal prep and teaching about nutrition, maybe you do that more. If it's that you love personal development and you want to create like a free personal development group, I mean, when we used to do that back in the day, it used to be fun. I know our last book kind of crashed and burned, but it happens. Life's just kind of crazy right now. If it's, that right now you could really help like share kid-friendly snacks with people because people are at home with their kids more and you want to create resources for that, do it. I think sometimes when you can get your creativity going and like share more of what you love, it helps you connect more. Like I was talking to a challenger last week and she's like, first half of our talk, you were talking about your job and you sounded lifeless. Second half, you were recommending personal development books for me and you sounded so excited. I was like, that's so, like, it's a telling thing, like I love self-help books. I'll talk to you about them all day long. I know Kendall said she does too. So like figuring out maybe that piece of this that really connects with you, going back to doing something fun and, just kind of coming back to the basics, not overcomplicating it. I think those are like where people just tend to start to fizzle out, It's the easiest business in the world, but people can make it into the hardest thing too. That's what I have. Does anybody have anything they want to add? Do I get so out of breath when I talk now?
You might be tired. I can just tell. You can tell. You're like.